Hi guys, it's Aegis here. So today I'm here with another DZBT deck profile. This time we're covering the updated Alter Ego Messiah. So basically the Messiah deck profile. We do get some new cards, and the whole Messiah Stride deck set is basically get reprinted as a common version inside DZBT06. I'm not sure if the same thing happening is to English yet, but I think usually what happens in JP, except the collapse, will also be covered in English as well. So we should be seeing that happening. So if you have not been able to get the deck set or too late to get it, then you can wait for that version to come, and then you can just grab a playset of those cards with PGs, with triggers, with some generic supports, with some new cards, then you're all set, right? So it's a deck that I've been played for a few times before the upgrades, and of course after these upgrades, to know what the new cards do. We didn't get like a whole bunch of support, but I think through time we do get some generic support, and they are being helpful. But unfortunately I don't have the dual nations for Brangate and Cater. I think that's the mix. That's the one that a lot of people actually using, but because when I was like cracking the set, I'm not getting that split, and I only had one copy, and then I sold to a friend because I only got one copy. Then I rather someone who needed that at the time to get it, so I don't actually have any copy of that, and you will not see any single copy in this deck list. So if you are too worried about the dual nation cards being too expensive and want to play this deck, then hopefully this can help you out. But unfortunately it's not a like replacement of something to do the same thing, but I built the deck with the concept that I don't even own this card, so it doesn't exist, so I'm not even think about it. So do know about this concept, and then will be easier for you to just going on with the deck profile. Now the right line, I'm still using, of course, the Messiah right line, which is what we are asked to do. Nothing too crazy about that, but just a quick note to remember: when you stride the first time, make sure you do pull the grade 2 out for you to do your logs and also do your soul charge, so you don't actually waste it. Now going to the main deck, before we go to the G zone, first I'm running one extra Alter Ego Messiah in case you are questioning about why this is like a different art. That we can actually use the G era versions of the Alter Ego Messiah because they are considered the same card, which this one is also the old version, so I guess you already know what happened, but we are allowed to do that, so I'm just using the old cards just to keep it simple. The reason I'm using one of the Alter Ego Messiah is just in case I want to get access to my strides, because one of them requires me to actually use Alter Ego Messiah to stride on it. Even though a lot of lists right now is completely take this card out and also take the Grade 4 out, so they're only running 8 of the Grade 4s, but I just want to keep myself a little bit flexibility in case I really need that, and like for whatever reason I use up all my strides, those 8s, and then I need to go into the extra 4, then at least I have a chance to do it. And then I'm using 3 of the Grade 4 support for me on riding to Grade 3 to draw a card when I discard it for as a ride cost, or when I use it for stride. The other skill is also fine because you get to soul charge 1, get some power. The defensive, unfortunately, you won't be getting that covered. Yeah, but basically just the soul charge, the draw. For me 3 is enough. I see a lot of people actually using 4, of course, to make sure they just get enough to use them for striding while drawing a card so they don't lose too much stuff. But when I play test, I somehow just get too many great freeze or no shield value cards in hand. So I make some changes. I think 3 is okay for me, but if you want to go for 4 and you don't want the Alter Ego Messiah, you can go for it. Right. And then Arrest the Messiah. It's just a card that helps you to generate your lock card so that you can do your multiple attacks. And whenever you have enough like lock cards on your side, it will benefit you as well. So it's a very important card where I do see sometimes people going for 3, but I think 4 is a better number if you ask me. And then we have the new Lady Battler. So she is a new addition to the deck in DZBT06, where it gets a GB1 skill. When additional attacks, if your Vanguard is a Messiah Grave or higher, then you can choose one of your other regards for the turn, get plus 5k, and when the battle ends, then lock this unit. So which is a good card for you to just lock to increase again like the Arrester, so that you actually get to be prepared to unlock them so you can generate more attacks, because we are not using some of the old cards where for example the grade 2, where after attack you can look at the top few cards of the deck and then put one as lock card face down, which is very uncertain. But these ones, they lock themselves, so that means you can actually 100% unlock the right cards. That's what I would say. Also do note about that when that battle ends is basically when she finishes her attacks. I think at least that's how I read it. I think the writing is sort of like weird because it's a dead battle, so it sometimes might confuse some people thinking it's when the power plus that you give to that unit after that battle ends. But so far from what I see is actually on her own battle, so she attacks, give power, and then after the battle of her ends, she will lock herself and then just done with it. Yeah. And then she also get a generation break free skill, which is very important support for us when your G unit with only Link Joker for his clan is placed on Vanguard Circle, count +1 and call this card to Vanguard Circle, so it helps you for a few things. One, because it's when your Link Joker G unit plays on Vanguard Circle, so it's before you consider, or maybe kind of the same timing, similar timing, when you use your strike skill, right? So you can count +1, bring this out, and then count +1 to lock it, to lock one of your opponent's regards, because sometimes you actually need to do that. It's important for you to use your strike skill, even though it does cost you quite a bit of counterblast, very much, but at least you get a chance to do it whenever, like if your opponent's board wipe your whole board, and then you go into your turn. Usually when you strike, unless you have this to come out to be your target to lock, you cannot actually use the strike skill. But at least this card giving you a chance to do it, which is to me very important. And the second thing is, even if you don't use the skill, and when your board is quite empty, you can simply just bring her out, and then with the crest applying power to your front row, she can at least hit something, right? So you can still have a good board just by striding. So that to me is a very big movement. And I'm using 3 of the energy ride cost for some sort of defensive, a little bit more draw power in case I need that. And then 4 Mikanis for the soul charge, because he himself basically count as a total of 2. Because on plays, you can choose to soul charge 1, and then you can use the when your Vanguard is way too high, you can put this card into your soul, and then the rest of the part it doesn't matter, because you won't be able to do that. This is basically on place, soul charge 1, going to soul, so you have 2 in total, and then your GB2 will be active immediately, like available, so whenever you go into your end phase, you unlock, then you can get to draw cards, which is still a very good tech. Unfortunately, we don't have any kind of replacement for him yet. There were some like less effective ones, but I think since Mikani is already getting reprinted one, so it's kind of easier to get. So you guys see me using it already here. In the past I didn't as well, so yeah, there we go. And then the Festival Collection Dragon, great one, which allows you to pick up something that you ditch by removing, binding this card, removing this card, not binding, removing this card from your drop zone and pay 3 energies. And well, basically you can just recycle your strike cost or anything that requires you to basically discard during your turn. You can just give that back to your hand, which is great. And it does have a chance to energy charge 1 when they're on place on Vanguard Circle, and when your Vanguard grade is below your opponent's Vanguard grade, and it also gets 2k, which I am not too sure if that matters to you too much, because I usually just use it for recycling my stuff, and because it needs to go to the drop zone, so I can just ditch it early game to the drop zone whenever I need to pick something up, pay 3 energy, remove this card from play, get the card back. Because you don't always get to have your right cost, or like this sort of right cost of you actually want to recycle it because you don't have another one and you want to make sure you can survive for the next turn. That's where you need the cards. And then 4 sacrifice, because it's your main counter charge, main ways of counter charging, and it locks itself. So when you unlock your own board, the more lock cards you have before you do the unlocking is definitely helpful. And plus, it can just lock itself with its own skill, so that you can just simply boost them, lock off them, and then unlock off them, still have a decent power with the boost. So nothing too much to say about that. And then PGs, I'm using the Blitz one, but it doesn't matters too much, I guess, for now. You can just use something else if you want to. You can just use full units PG as well, depending on the meta. If you are facing a lot of ones with extra crest, then you can also consider to use the one from the Festival Collection. Again, usually it's just the 4th one is up to you what you want to do. And then 2 of the Messiah order, because it can grabs me a Messiah unit to the board and also get to lock my opponent's regards. And even when I use it as a strike cost, I can -1 counterblast cost for using my strike skill. So it does help. Not like that important compared to the past where we use like 3 to 4 copies. Now I think 2 is enough, while we have other cards that help us to like gain advantage. But compared to Jet, I think this is still important card, so I'm using 2 of it. And then this is something that I actually watched some online matches, like some remote fights on some of the Japanese videos live, that they are using this little set order, which is Deadly Ice Fishing, which is also a generic support that we get from DZBT06. So to use this card, you just simply play this first, and then it has a active Orders on skill, cost energy blast 2, and rest this card. Look at the top 3 cards of the deck, choose up to 1 card with grade less than or equal to your Vanguard from among them, before it call it to Vanguard cycle, if it's a unit card, and put it into your hand if it's an order card of your deck. If you reveal a card, put this card into your soul. So what's good about this card? First thing is using energy, so it doesn't kill your souls, it doesn't kill your counterblast. You just need to do a better energy management, which in this deck you're only using free energy to pick something up, using free energy to draw cards, and if you don't see those cards, what you would do is have an energy blast to draw a card, so you should have spare energy to do it. And it helps you to look through a deck for pieces where only the Dual Nation card is doing that. So while you can say this is kind of a replacement, but to me it's not exactly the same, because that also recycles your card. It's also a card on the board, so it's different, but at least it helps you to find order, it helps you to find units, right? And more importantly is, if you reveal a card, put this card in your soul, even though that means you cannot use this effects again, but it soul charge you a card. So not only that it brings you something, it's also fill up your soul, which to me is a very good support for this deck, because we do requires quite a lot of souls for us to draw cards, which is important, right? So I think this card is actually helping us for searching the stuff we want, soul charging, and not using our counterblast and soul blast. Yeah, just these 3 things. I mean, this make this card a very good fit in the deck, but unfortunately I don't have too much space for it, so I put in 2 there, which is fine for me. If you want to cut, simply cut it to 1. It's okay too. It's more like a card that gets you to something that you need. Yeah. And then a Train Cast, so that we have more defense, because in this deck you do want to stay a little bit longer, because the real battle actually starts from GB3, so anything that helps you survive longer is definitely great. Triggers. Now I am using the Brain Gate OT here to be as scary as possible, because this is something that can simply flip the table around where it appears. But if you do want a more stable game, or like a grind game, then you can go for the Water OT to pick rook stuff while getting a crit, or using the Dark OT, where you get to generate more attacks and healing yourself. So I will choose about these 3 depending on which kind of game plan that you're going for. If I am switching, I probably will go for the Dark OT. Yeah. And then crits, I'm using Soaring Crit, and then more crits here. The Soaring Crit is important here, even though most times I will be using for guarding, and for most deck profiles, recent ones, that I rather focus the crits to be the 15k shield. I won't be playing them down, but this deck actually requires quite a lot of souls, so I do need the backup plan. And because I need the defensive, so I'm using the 20k fronts. But if you prefer to have more souls, you can use the new front triggers that get into souls after guarding. So depending on what you want, but I do think front is important here, so I'm using 4, and then 4 heals. Again, no effect heals, because I don't see a specific reason to run them in here. Now lastly, G zone is very simple. Is basically all of our messiahs, where you probably 99% will not be using these because I only have one alter ego messiah, while a lot of players are basically just take it out. But I just want to, well, since I have room, why don't I just put it in there, right? So I just put it in there. And then Amnesty is still your first strike no matter what. Now you still don't have much of a choice, and you need that to flip your Trans L's Messiah, not only for making sure you get the GB free, but also when this unit attacks a Vanguard, Combat 1, unlock all of your lock cards, choose up to the same number of your opponent's regards and the same number of the face-up cards in your G zone, and lock them. So when you first use the skill, you will be only able to lock 2 of your opponent's cards basically, because there's only 2 face-up G zone cards, and then choose the same number of your regards as the number of face-up Genesis Dragon Trans L's Messiah in your G zone, and they get 5k power until end of turn. So the more Trans L's Messiah that you have face up on the G zone, the more units that you can pick to give them the 5k. Even though it doesn't seems very important, but sometimes like that little changes is helping you quite a lot. Also do remember, because our usual stat will be Amnesty flipping 1, and then going to this, and then maybe go back to Amnesty if we want to. So you will be only be able to use the Trans L's for 3 times, unless you don't care about the 5k at all. Then you can just use this to flip this, and then use it 4 times. That's okay as well, I guess. But it's up to you. What I usually do is I go for this, flip 1, so that I can just starting to give 5ks and then hopefully win from these 3. Usually it does. If not, then I will go back from here to just flipping this. And whenever I actually need that, then I will ditch the alter ego Messiah to just go into it, right? So what's good about the new support is it helps you fix the problem where you don't get to have any regards on board for, when you stride, so that you can actually use the stride skill, and then this is helping you to basically just unlock everything and then do a little bit more meaningful locking, I would say. Yeah, so the deck itself didn't do like a big important change, but it did give you a lot of generic supports throughout the time. For example, these ones I would say is really good. These ones is really good, and then of course the Grateful support is also very good. Mikani is just because of the soul charge, so it's a little bit different, but overall somehow we do see a lot more people actually taking this deck out to play, and it does seem to have a ongoing trend that it gets more and more people willing to take this deck out to tournaments, because with locking and unlocking to your opponent's board, it takes their units away. Instead of going to the drop zone, they just binds it. Even though against decks like Resal, where they simply just clear their whole board after attacking, but if you can still like kill their Gabu, I think it's definitely a good thing to go for, because that is where they gain more drives, more top deck checks. If you can get rid of that, it's definitely going to helpful, because they don't run like a lot of them. If you remove like 2 of them, I think they don't have any more, right? So it has this potential, but then you still need to kind of suffer on your great return, because if you are going first, your opponent will do a full combo on you. If you're going second, your opponents will choose not to go to referee, so you get stuck for another turn. So for strike deck is still a little bit passive, but unfortunately there's nothing we can do to save on this part. Maybe later we can actually get something like what we get in premium with strides that can simply go on when you just ride your grade 3 and then discard a grade 3 and then just go on top. Maybe we can get that later, but depending on how it will destroy the meta or not. Hopefully not. But yeah, so far I do feel the support is feeling a lot better, because just by being able to use my stride skill a lot more flexible changes a lot of things. Because like when you face a deck that completely clears their board and your board, you cannot do anything, right? But now at least even if you get board wipe and your opponents have nothing, you can still build up your own board and then just unlock your own board and still do your combos. You can still start with some little steps, and instead of keep burning your own hand to rebuild the board, you have cards that can come back out from the drop zone to be your support. And then we have more cards to help us to draw cards, we have more cards to help us to find the pieces. That to me is a good support. It can be better, but it is definitely good support. So if you are trying to play Messiah, I think this is a set. DZBT06 is definitely the set that you can just invest a little bit, go in and grab the cards, because once the Messiah basic stuff get reprinted, they will be a lot cheaper. And also the big thing for us is to grab this little great one here if you want to play premium, because you can basically simply get 4 copies right here, a lot easier. Yeah, so I think that's it for this deck profile. If you have any questions to ask, feel free to ask in the comments down below. Subscribe for more deck profiles, deck fights, unboxing videos. And yeah, I think that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, guys. I will see you guys in the next video. Signing off.